Brooklyn Park is considering a significant investment for its future, the possibility of building a new fire station. Brooklyn Park's Central Fire Station was built years before it had a full-time fire department. Building a new station, however, has a roughly $26 million price tag. Chief Sean Conway hopes residents will understand the need.
I'm pretty confident that they would be able to understand our perspective because it is a health and wellness aspect.
The city also has a long-range plan to remodel or rebuild its other 3 stations over a 10-year period. Plans for a new church in Plymouth is getting opposition from neighbors. Eagle Brook Church is proposing a new campus on farmland just north of Meadow Ridge Elementary School. It currently holds services at Wayzata High School. The church wants a permanent campus due to its growing congregation, but residents have raised concerns.
These are all residential roads. This road was just finished a few months ago. So it's really not built for a large complex that would be serving thousands of people every week.
The church plans to hold a meeting on September 20th at Wayzata High School to go over those concerns. The Robbinsdale School District has a new board chair, one who happens to be a familiar face. This weekend in Newsmakers, Rusty Ray sits down with Helen Bassett to go over some big questions facing the district.
A lot of discussion about school resource officers, a lot of decisions up to cities. It sounds like the schools are kind of waiting on the cities to get everything together.
Well, you're so right, Rusty. There are a number of moving pieces. The cities have a stake in it because, of course, they are the ones who actually directly hire the officers. And, of course, the legislature has passed some new legislation this past session. And so there's a conversation, as I understand it, between the governor and some of the leaders in the parties to talk about, is there a need for a special session to talk about this subject? So I know that there are many people who care about it. And then, of course, there are the officers who have relationships with their local school districts. And in Robbinsdale, we have relationships with 4 of the 7 cities. And so our board has made a decision that we really want to have officers, and we've got some contract language that we've worked on. And I think they meaning the police departments themselves, are engaged in working with their unions to kind of figure out their way forward. So we're just kind of sitting by and wanting to be a good partner, and also wanting to be a good partner for our parents, for our students and staff, and making sure that we are adhering to the things that are important. And of course the greater community, because everybody has a stake in it. They don't all have children in schools. But at the same time, the whole question of community relations and police departments across the nation, not just here, are subjects that everybody has an opinion about. So what we do is we try to stay focused on those parts of it that are important to our community, important to our students and staff, and certainly important to my responsibility as just a school board member. And so we're trying to do that and paying attention to all the other entities that have a stake in this and have maybe greater say-so than even we do.
Mm-hmm. You've been on the board of directors of the schools for more than 20 years at this point.
Just a little beyond that, yes.
And just were named the chair of the board for 2022. And then in 2023, someone else was selected. Am I right so far?
You're right so far. I was elected chair. I was vice chair before that. And in fact, for the last 13 years, for 8 of them, I've been either the vice chair, and then this, as you mentioned, in 2022, I was the chair. And so then, just a couple of weeks ago, I was asked if I would be willing to step back in and chair again. And you don't spend 22 years being involved with an organization if you're not willing to step up when your colleagues ask you to. And that was kind of a similar situation when I decided to run the last time I ran. It was right at the COVID moment. And I just thought, if you've spent this much time learning a few things, is it really a good time for you to just step away? And I decided then, no, it wasn't. And I made that same type of decision when my colleagues came and asked me if I'd be willing to step in.
Some of them decided a change needed to happen, and they asked you to step in, and it all happened within the space of a meeting a couple weeks ago.
Well, by that Friday, I couldn't even believe I was chair again. I mean, it really is a lot of responsibility. it's a lot of work. And of course, I've been in that mode for the last, as I mentioned, 8 years out of the last 13. And prior to that, chairing over at WEMEP, and for 4 years, and serving there for 12. So, so I know how much work is involved. So it's no small thing to say yes. And it's work that needs to happen. We've got a lot of big questions before us. It has been reported that our superintendent is out on a medical leave, and has been for a couple of, I don't know the exact number of weeks, but for a period of time. And school just started today, and so getting school launched and dealing with the business of school, and you yourself just mentioned the importance of our SRO officers and their place in our schools. So there are a lot of important decisions to make. Included in that is whether or not we will have an interim superintendent if there's a need.
Okay.
So that, of course, too, is a big question. And so there are a lot of big questions on deck. Not the time to say, well, especially when you have 3 brand newly elected school board members who just started in January.
A lot of business to attend to and to make sure it moves forward.
The business of the district needs to move forward because, of course, we have a responsibility as trustees for the community, so.
Okay. Right. Helen Bassett, Chair again of the Robbinsdale Area Schools Board of Directors. Thank you for coming in today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
The first day of school brought with it many first day memories. We leave you with a look back.